record this. We're live on Facebook, and we'll get this thing going. So guys, today, actually, it was my good friend Vincent who introduced me to Get Privy. It's been a while now, and we when I talked to Benson and to Scott over at Privy, we got a demo. I was just kind of blown with the amount of uh, intelligence in their system and what they had done to capture MLS data. And they had just incredible amount of enriched data from them that they could extract that you can't find on Zillow. You can't find that on Redfin or Realtor.com. That's just not there. So what the Get Privy team, Benson, Scott, Doug, everybody there, they've spent years and years kind of fine tuning their algorithms to make it easy for folks like us that are investors, realtors, brokers, wholesalers, flippers. We spend a lot of money and time looking for deals, and sometimes the deals are right under our nose. So when I met with Scott and Benson, they were just in certain markets, but they've made a lot of progress. They're coming to more markets, uh, but real quick, we'll do a deep dive. Benson's one of the co-founders of Get Privy. He does all the live demos. He knows all the tricks. So
Hmm.
I've attended some of his live webinars. And Vincent, do you want to say a couple of words about Privy? Like how have
Yeah,
you? Yeah, yeah.
no problem. I appreciate it, Bobby. Also appreciate some of my friends joining on tonight. Saw Steve, saw Naomi, Jordan, some of the other people. Appreciate you guys showing up for this. Probably, I don't know, maybe 6, 9 months ago, I was like exactly doing what you're doing right now. I was checking out a Privy demo, and I was very, very impressed by what is available through this platform. And it's only just growing and getting better. Tonight, we're actually introducing it to the Northern California market for the very first time. So uh, Benson and Bobby and I are really excited about that. One of the things that I find, so I'm basically like, I'm in wholesaling, I'm in investing, I do a number of different things. Probably one of the biggest questions, I've got friends like across the nation. And one of the biggest things they always ask me is like, can you help me run comps? Like I got several texts today, right? It's like, can you comp this property like for me? So it's one of the biggest questions. And from what I've found, there's no really effective tools out there. I mean, there are things that you can do, but no effective tools that I've found that particularly are plugged into MLS data, which is the most effective and accurate data. So kind of the magic buzzword is like, can we get MLS comps? Well, that's exactly what Privy has. So I find myself like people call me from like Florida, Georgia. Somebody was asking me from Alabama this morning, like, can you run comps? Pretty much what I'll do to help them out sometimes is just use this tool Privy to do that, and it does so much more than that. But Benson's the one who can really tell you
Yeah.
everything about it. But just to let you know, I mean, for me personally, I find it not only something that I is helpful to me and effective for me, but something that I just hear people all over that are investors and wholesalers is like something that they really need. So I think Privy's time has come, and we're super excited to see it being introduced into Northern California for the first time. So you're getting
Yeah.
the first look here, the first
Yeah.
chance to see Privy introduced into the Northern California market, which thanks to Benson and Bobby and Scott and everybody have made this happen. So we kind of pushed them a little bit though, right?
We did. We did.
Oh yeah.
They were going to go to other weird places like Austin, and we're like, no, 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 you got to come to Northern California first. But no, just kidding. Benson, the floor is all yours.
Thank you.
Please take it away.
Awesome.
And
Well,
folks, while Benson, look, this is you're amongst friends. Ask questions. You can chat. There's a chat box at the bottom of your screen. Chat in there. Benson will get it, or I'll get it. We'll respond back to you. and then we'll open it up for Q&A later on as well. So
Yeah.
thank you everybody. And we'll also do some networking later on, so and if you got any announcements or anything, we'll do that as well. So Benson, it's all yours.
Awesome. You guys, thank you so much for having me here, Bobby and Vincent. I consider you guys part of the team at this point. It seems I'm talking to either of you, almost every day now, which I love, because it is now like an extended family and friends. And, I hopefully get to know a bunch of the people on the call here personally as well, because I've built so many great relationships over the years. And now I'm finding, like, as we're growing nationwide, like, that network is just growing and growing. And, Vincent was talking about, Privy, and, he came on board and he became a user many months ago so that he could do business in Atlanta, where his son's going to school. And so he's been able to leverage the technology that way. And, like Dale earlier was talking about, thinking about doing deals outside the state, which, depending upon where you're at, like, you might be in a good market, you might not be. And so for so long, we really felt like we were held back by our geographical location, like where we live. And then if we were going to venture out, it might be like, where you grew up or where your mom lives. And that familiarity or proximity gave you some comfort that it was going to help you have some level of success. And, that could be true, but it isn't always the truth. And what we've found is that by getting access to the data, we originally got this, we built it for ourselves. Actually, I'm an agent in Colorado, and I've been doing this now for over 15 years. And that's just in the business. We got Privy going, and we built it in our own company so that we could automate the process of finding and analyzing deals. Because even as agents, the MLS is just not an effective tool to run comps, look for deals, build comparative market analysis, research markets. It's manual, and it's a real huge time suck. It's tedious, and it's a pain in the butt, right? So we looked for a technical solution, and it just didn't exist. So we built it. And for the first couple of years, we didn't even sell Privy. It was just used to help us scale our business so we could work with more investors and find more deals for ourselves more effectively. And then we could spend time on those money-making activities. And a lot of us that are here, this isn't our full-time job, right? So we have to be very careful about how we spend our time on a daily basis. And if you're spending your time doing tedious tasks, you don't get to do the important things. And then pretty soon what happens is your side hustle or your hobby, it never really grows into a flourishing business because it isn't getting the full-time attention. And with Privy, it allows you to really focus your time on the most important things. And it's things like, pulling comps on a property in a second instead of when it used to take me an hour or two. Running the analysis on properties, determining the maximum allowable offer, establishing after repair value, finding the hot areas. Like, these are all really cool things that we can do now with data. And I'm going to jump into just a little slideshow here, and I'll just kind of give you a sense of, what we were trying to accomplish and how we're trying to accomplish it. So with a technology-driven approach to your business, you're going to be able to have a lot more effectiveness. When you're taking back the power, you're getting more involved in the transaction, no matter where you get your deal flow, whether it's on market, off market. You really want to be able to make sure that the stuff you're spending your time on is valuable. And with COVID coming, it's been kind of a forcing function for a lot of us. We're thinking of safer ways to invest, and you honestly can invest right from behind your computer in the safety of your own home and not putting yourself or your family at risk by being out there. And you can leverage, your community to do that. So we're able to help you find and analyze deals. You can leverage algorithms and automation. It's almost like having a team of virtual assistants do all the heavy lifting for you. And then you can basically understand what's happening on the ground in maybe your own local market in Northern California. Or if you feel like, I'd like to see some other areas, you can look at some of those too. But again, don't base it off of convenience or where it's familiar. Base it off of what other investors are having success with. And what we call that market intelligence. So market intelligence is how we basically extract more valuable information from this data so you can understand what other investors are doing to have success, so you can emulate their success. There's no reason to recreate the wheel. But then when you layer in the automation and you layer in the data, now what happens is you start to get more confidence in your numbers. When you're trying to piece together some semblance of an after repair value or understand what's happening on the ground, and you're going, you're grabbing one comp off of Zillow and maybe your agent gives you another one, and then you find another one on realtor.com. Like, this is not a business where you can hack the situation, right? We're all entrepreneurs here, right? We're notorious for cutting corners, trying to do things all ourselves, trying to do things on the cheap. And it's called, hacking a situation. And that's what makes us great, but it can also hold us back. And when you're talking about a business where, a 5% difference between the real value of a home and an ARV that you established off of Zillow could mean the difference between you making and losing money. And we've all heard the horror stories of the one and done. They finally get their first deal. They go in there, they go over budget, over time. They realize that, they didn't use the right comparables, and then the deal goes sideways. And we don't want that for you. So when you invest in the right partners, whether it's a data provider like us or the right contractors, the right real estate agents, title companies, all of those things make a difference. And so when we decided to build this thing, what we realized we were trying to do is, number one, we wanted to make sure we were putting real-time MLS data in the hands of everybody that needed it. No longer does an investor have to go to some random website online or pretend to be a real estate agent assistant, or, ask somebody at the RIA. I've seen this happen. What do you think this is worth? Right. And so, people are, like Vincent said, people are calling him to get value. I mean, really think about that. This is a business where you're putting in tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, and people are willing to allow someone else to pull their comparables. Like, this is where a lot of investors go wrong. And it's 95% of people that get started in this business never succeed. And it's because of situations just like that. So by putting the proper data in your hands, and I'm not just handing you the MLS, we've got a direct data feed, and then we run algorithms against it to extract actionable data, right? Data that you can actually make decisions on. And this allows you to find the best areas to invest in, really nail down your ARV, and make sure that that offer that goes out the door is going to make you money. So when we built Privy, we realized that there's other investors that are out there that are doing this thing. And in the past, you would really understand what's going on based off of, like, maybe what the conversation at the local RIA, or you drive down the street and you see a roll off in someone's driveway and you're like, oh, there's a flip, right? And that was the extent of it. But now we can run the analysis on a market and find out exactly where investors are doing deals and how they're doing them. We can see the before and after data. We can see what they're buying properties for, what to sell them for. You can figure out if there's other markets that you should potentially target that maybe aren't your own local market. And then if you're doing fix and flip or BRRRR or one of those other kind of rehab type approaches, what's appropriate for the neighborhood. How many times have you seen people, overbuild because they watched HGTV, and next thing you know, they're doing glass tile in a neighborhood where they should just have a rental grade rehab, right? Like, those are the kinds of mistakes that people are making. But now we're going to give you the ability to do it. So just a quick couple notes about ARV. Again, this is not something to play around with. If your ARV is off just a little bit, that could ruin the entire deal. And, best case scenario, you just waste some time, right? And maybe you hurt your credibility a little bit. Worst case scenario, you borrow money from people, you go to the bank, you make a mistake, and now you're in debt and you're done, right? So this is something you really want to pay special attention to. So you should no longer be going to places like Zillow or those sites. They're not designed for real estate investing. The Zestimate, even in their own disclaimer, says that's off up to 30%. And when we're talking about an ROI of 15% on average is what people are shooting for, 30% basically says that you could be losing money on a deal when you think you're making money. So definitely ask your agents for help, bounce ideas off of them. Every good real estate investor should have an agent on the team and get advice, but make sure you're using real-time data, leverage algorithms if you can, and then make sure that you are basing it off of what other investors are doing. I believe that every good real estate investor should have both off market and on market deal flow. And there's pros and cons of both. And, there's potentially less competition with off market if it's like a truly off market deal that wasn't sourced by a list. If it's public record, everybody knows about it, right? If you know about it, everybody else does. So there could potentially be some, if you're sourcing that stuff, through bandit signs or Facebook ads. But if it's a list, you better know that there's going to be some competition. What's interesting and what we found is by targeting hot investor activity areas, the ROIs in those areas are higher. And what happens is you think about the scale. You've got, say it's 100%, and kind of the baseline that a lot of investors use is 70% of ARV, right? Which means there's 30% of the top end that's profit and costs and, at the minimum, right? And so what happens is if you're in an area where there's not investor activity, that ROI gets pushed down. And this back end of that scale is where your offer needs to be. So if you are in an area where there's not hot areas and there's no investor activity, you don't have the comps to prove ARV, it pushes everything down. Now you end up putting out a lot of lowball offers, and you upset sellers, motivated sellers, and you can't do on-market deals that way. If you go the other direction, you find a hot area, well, it pushes everything up. So now your offer gets pulled up where you can actually submit realistic offers to motivated sellers that they're going to take. And now you can actually target on-market properties. So this is something that we found out along the way by doing all of this work. So I'm going to jump into the software real quick, and I'm going to show you how this works. So Privy, it's a web-based software application. We're currently in 20 different states. We just added Oakland, which is exciting. And this is kind of a snapshot of our coverage areas. I just submitted 15 new MLSs that we're going to be adding in. These are places like Austin, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Detroit, bunch of other really cool. We're going to be in every major market really soon. And cat out of the bag, beginning of the year, we're going to be releasing a brand new data set that includes all the off-market public record data that so many investors are looking for and want to use to find deals. Now, this is stuff like right here, owner information, mortgage and deed data, transaction history, the whole foreclosure process from pre-foreclosure to REOs, short sales, lien data, bankruptcies, divorces, vacancies, absentee owners, opportunity zones. We're going to be able to layer all that information into the Privy system to help you find the best deals on and off market and give you the best data to analyze those properties so you will have the right ARV and you're submitting the right offer. So we're really excited about that. That's in motion. We've already got the data. We're incorporating it, normalizing it, and it's going to be live really soon. So I mentioned before market intelligence. What's market intelligence? Market intelligence is understanding what other investors in the market are having success with. So I'm going to do a real quick filter here, and I'm going to look for properties that were fixed and flipped, that were better than 70% of the after repair value, that sold in the last 12 months, and I'm going to sort by sold date. So I'm going to run this analysis on all the markets we're currently in, and this is going to flash. And this is going to show us where some of the hot markets are currently located. It's a heat map. Red's the most matches, blue's the fewest number of matches, in these areas in between, like I said before, we're not currently doing business in. But because of this data, we can actually see where the hot areas are at. So if we look at California, up in the Bay Area, we've got over 500 deals that were done within the last 12 months. Southern California, Los Angeles, Inland Empire, San Diego, there's quite a bit here. But honestly, this isn't a ton relative to the amount of people that are there in the population, right? Las Vegas, it's really difficult to do deals there. There's not a lot of transactions happening there. A lot of our users in Vegas are investing in other markets. But look what happens when you start to move a little bit further east. In Chicago, over close to 2,300 deals were done there in the last 12 months. Indianapolis is up and coming. It's getting over 1,000. Nashville's difficult. Atlanta's difficult. but there's hot areas like Philadelphia and Baltimore and Central Florida. This is places like Tampa, Orlando, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, really hot areas to invest in. And, we're going to look at here in Oakland to give you a sense of what's going on in Northern California. But I want to show you what's happening in some of these other markets. So let's look at Chicago, for example. So I'm going to click this little property cluster and it's going to zoom in here. And now we see, the numbers as well as the heat map, right? So what the average investor might do if they lived in, say, Manhattan down here, right? We got a little blue area. They would go drive for dollars where they live, right? We've got a little bit of time on an evening or a weekend. You got some time to drive for dollars. You're not going to drive all the way over to Batavia and look for deals, right? Because, that's by the time you get there, you got to turn around and go back because of all the responsibilities we have. But this is what ends up happening. And that's why it's so hard to find deals in certain areas. But if you're smart and you're strategic and you leverage the data, you would want to target an area just like this. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And you can see here, there's this hot pocket right here. This is an area where there's lots of deals being done. So I'm going to use our drawing tool and I'm going to isolate this so we can get a little bit more familiar with the area. So I'm going to click this one more time. And now this is going to start to break up into individual transactions. These transactions now, we have all the before and after data. So look how active this area is. There's over 300 deals that were completed that were better than 70% in this one area. And if we just open up one of these homes that recently closed, this is going to show us what we call the live comparative market analysis. And by the way, no matter what market we're in, Privy works the same way. The only difference is the data inputs. So we can see here, this was 7818 South King Drive. And then we scroll down here. And here's all the comparables. So our algorithm automatically comps out every single property that's opened up inside of Privy. So you can really quickly determine what the current value is, what the after repair value is, and it updates live. So if there's a price change or a status change in the subject property or even the comps, you'll know about it. We also have rental data. So if you're building a portfolio, or if you're wholesaling deals and your end buyer is using the BRRRR method, or they're building a portfolio, when you provide your market information, you can provide rental data as well. And then you can see the before and after data, right? So this is really unique and proprietary to Privy. You're not going to see this anyplace else. If you had been a Privy user back in January, our system would have sent you an email and it would said, hey, Mrs. Investor, here's a search, here's a property that matches your search criteria. Now, 70% of ARV is kind of my go-to. So would have gotten an email and it would have sent you this on an email alert, right? The automation. This thing was listed for $50,000. They sold it for $195,000. So they had $145,000 gross profit. Now, we don't know what they spent. There's not a database that contains that information. But just like in everybody else, we rate a deal based off a percentage of ARV, right? That's where you start. And if we're measuring how good this deal is, they got it for 50 grand. They sold it for 195,000. They basically got this thing at 25% of ARV. This thing was on market. They know the seller was motivated. They didn't have to cold call or knock on anyone's door or spend, $5,000 on an expensive mailing campaign. Because we targeted a hot area, you're able to find deals just like this every day automatically. And this is a weird thing. And I've been talking about this with a lot of investors. The majority of people that get in this business, their intention is to invest in real estate, right? They feel like they can make a bunch of money because they see people do it on TV, or some guru comes through town and makes a bunch of promises. And the truth is they're right. But where a lot of people go wrong is once they get in the business, they realize that they have to become a professional marketer. So now you're writing sales scripts and you're knocking on doors and you're sending out mailing campaigns. And all of a sudden you're like, well, when do I get to invest? All I'm doing is marketing. And that might work for a lot of people. Maybe they enjoy being a salesperson and, maybe sitting at the kitchen table of somebody who's losing their house and having an uncomfortable conversation about them, moving out. Like that's not fun for a lot of people. So if you have a way of doing that and it's working, continue to. Privy is an effective tool to help you analyze all that deal flow. But if you're looking for another way to find deals that are at 25% of ARV, and these things are showing up in your inbox automatically, this is another way of doing it. So this is the house after they fixed it up. They sold it for $195. And you can see exactly what kind of construction they did, what kind of materials. You can understand what kind of finishes are appropriate, right? We talked about the people that overbuild or over design, and also really valuable things like, did they add a bedroom, bathroom, square feet, right? All the changes are here. The construction period's 239 days. Well, if you're doing a deal, you're either paying cash or you're getting a conventional loan with 20% down, or you're getting private or hard money. Every day this house is on the market is money you're not putting back in your pocket, right? There's the cost of doing the deal over time, but there's also opportunity cost. So if you underestimate this or you don't know how to calculate it, it's costing you. So what better way to know that is than researching other areas. We've got a street view. It's really powerful here. So if you are doing some virtual stuff and you wanted to invest in Chicago or Atlanta or Dallas, you can virtually drive the neighborhood without having to drive all the way out there, or maybe sending your person who's on the ground. The county data that I just talked to you about is starting to filter in. If you're building a buyer's list, here's Alfaro Brothers LLC. They just sold this house 2 days ago. You better bet your bottom dollar they're looking for another one. And if you're a wholesaler in this market, here's somebody that you could sell a property to, right? So this is a great way to build your buyer's list. So all this information is here. Now, all you have to do after this is just flip the switch. You switch over to active, uncheck sold. Maybe you lower this to 55% of ARV. And then we can put, any sort of filters that you want that fit your buyer's box, your buy boxes, and then turn the algorithm on and it will do the heavy lifting for you. And at this point, all you would do is just save the search and let the algorithm run and find opportunities for you. So here's a property that just came on the market. It's for sale for $104,000. Compare that to Northern California prices. 5-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,650 square feet. And Privy flagged this property as a deal because the house right down the street was flipped and sold for $204,000. So this property is basically at 50% of the ARV, again, at asking price. And there's even, more spread here potentially. This one went for $229,000, $220,000. But then you can open up this property right in line and see exactly what they did to it. So now we've got a blueprint on exactly what they did to their house to get to this 204 value. All we do is apply that same approach to this house that's right down the street. I mean, it's basically the same home. That's how simple it can be when you leverage the data and the technology. And that's all using a layered approach. So you search for the hot areas first, you research the areas, you learn the local market. Every one of those sold properties, you guys, is a lesson in itself. And there's a lot of good education out there. And you're really fortunate to be part of Bobby and Vince's network because they're doing things the right way. They've got really good education. But there isn't any book or podcast or RIA that can teach you like what's happening on the ground, what to buy properties for, what to sell them for, what kind of money they're making, how long the process takes. That is invaluable that you can only get by looking at the data. So let me switch over to Northern California, right? So here's the Bay Area. And right now, so the concentration of data right here, this is new listings in the past week, right? That's our default listing. But let's run the same approach. So we're going to go to fix and flip, ARV, anything better. Let's say it's 75%, okay, or better. That's sold in the last 12 months. And this is going to show us where in the Bay Area here north, where the hot area is at. So it's right here, 65 flips in the last 12 months, right in this area. Now, maybe some of you would had a sense of that, based off of, how active you are or people are talking, but now you can base it on data. And what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in here, and this is going to start to break up, and we're going to be able to get a sense of, well, what kind of flips are they doing? Here's all the flips that have happened right here in this little area. So let's look at this one that just closed yesterday. This gives you a sense of how updated the information is. This one, pretty high end, Craftsman home, 1.3 million. And if we scroll down below the table view, here's all the comparables. Again, it's all automatically comped out. You don't have to spend a bunch of time searching for comps or bothering your agent. It's right there in your hands. And then we come down here to the before and after, and we can see this property. So they picked it up for $750,000 when they first bought it. Look at it, it was all overgrown. They sold it for 1.3 million. Now, if you had been paying attention back in June of this year, I mean, this is really recently, you could have picked this property up. This is on market, $750,000. They sold it for 1.3 million. They got this at 54%. 54%. That is an amazing deal that was right there in your general market that you could have had, right? And again, it's all based off of the automation. So our system sent this out on the 15th. And look at this place. Now you can see the pictures. You see how gorgeous it is. But now you know that this is a hot area. If you're smart, you're going to be looking for deals where these other properties are located. If you're doing some off-market marketing activities, this right here is where you should be doing your mailers. Okay, this is where you should be. If you have a foreclosure list, for example, and you've got, there's 500 properties that are in pre-foreclosure. I know foreclosures are down right now because of, the moratoriums, but just think about, you got a list, maybe it's probates, maybe it's absentee owners or vacancies. How are you going to prioritize who you call first? Well, you're going to sample these hot zip codes, and you're going to filter that square feet, and you're going to make sure a square feet, you're going to filter that zip code, put those at the very top of the list. So that's who you're calling first, because again, every spare minute you have to spend on your business should be spent on money making activities. And if you're calling on a property that's way out here, and there's one fix and flip, and you're chasing somebody around, and you know how hard it is to even get somebody on the phone and to even have a conversation about their property, right? And you may only have one chance. And if you finally get them on the phone and you realize there's nobody doing deals out there, and now you have to give them some lowball offer, well, you just wasted a bunch of time, right? So this is where your activity should be. And then let's go one more property just to kind of get a sense of what's going on here. And actually, it's kind of fun because this is kind of like a real world fix and flip show, except it doesn't have actors and the numbers are real, right? Like this is an actual deal that was closed, and you can learn from it. You can see what they bought it for, what they sold it for, what kind of construction they used. They grossed $370,000. They got in and out of this one really quick, 116 days. That's a quick turnaround for this size home. 83 days on market. And you can, virtually drive the neighborhood, see if it's an area you would want to go into. Is it across the street from a 7-Eleven, or is it convenient? And maybe there's schools in the area. Down here, here's the owner information. Catamount Properties, 2008 LLC. Just run this against the Secretary of State or your skip tracing service, and now you've got a new potential buyer for this area. These guys are looking for more deals. I mean, their company is all about flipping. You might as well actually write that down. Catamount Properties, 2018 LLC. That's another person you can go sell a deal to if you're wholesaling. But now, what's the next step, right? We have a layered approach. We know the hot area. We're going to get all of our team on board. We're going to be marketing here. We're going to set Privy up to look for deals here. To get the automated updates, it's really simple. You just click save, give the search a name, and our system's going to go and find those properties for you and then send them to you once they're found. So whether it's a sold search or it's an active search, looking for deals you can buy today. So let's put in here a price ceiling of, say, 600,000. I'm not familiar enough with this market to know if that's unreasonable, but there are some here that you can see that were bought cheaper than that. and anything that came on the market in the past month, and we'll sort by days on market. So we want to see the newest listings first. I'm a proponent of getting them while they're hot, like right when they come on the market. So let's take a look at a couple of these, right? So here's a property, 571,000, right? They, kind of, low end. They maybe did some updates here at some point. But the reason why we flag this property as a deal is you can get it for 571,000, and there are $1 million homes right down the street. This one here went for 950. This one went for 925. And remember, the algorithm has already made sure these are true comparables. We're not looking at houses that are a lot larger or that are, much different. They're all ranches. They're all within 15% of the square feet. This is a property you'd want to go check out. They can see, this one right here, the closest one, if we just open this property up, take a look at it. This thing's a true Dram Craftsman, details. This one isn't a fix and flip, but look where the value is, right? This is probably a property that's in good shape. So I'm going to share this one with you guys. This is kind of a rental grade deal. I'm going to put this here in the chat, and then you can take a look at it. And let's see what else is here. Here's one that's at 550,000. It's, a lot of people like to use that keyword search. We've got a keyword search as well, but fixer upper dream, right? Like those are the kinds of words we really like to see. And then we look at the comparables here. See all these little blue dots? These are all these little blue dots support a value that's better than 70%. And then you can see right down here, this house right down the way was just flipped for 870,000. The closest comp is at 1.1 million. And the house is barely, it's only 99 square feet larger than the subject property, right? So we're trying to compare apples to apples here to make it easy for you to comp these properties out and find opportunities like this one. This is 4307 Market Street. Now, this button up here I'm clicking is called the share button. So if you have, you work on a team or you want to set up a showing, you could send it to your real estate agent. You could send it to your hard money lender. If you're JVing, you can send it and they can open up this live CMA and they can view it same way as you can. And they don't have to be a privy user. So it's a great way to collaborate and get everybody in the team speaking the same language. So let me put this here in the chat for you guys. And everyone. So I'm hoping that somebody on this call will go see this thing tomorrow and write an offer. This is a great deal. Let's go ahead and back out just a little bit here. And we'll see if there's anything else that looks interesting. 550, 399. This one's 399. This one looks interesting. Looks, mostly original. It's like that late 60s, early 70s construction. I love this old stove. 399 grand. And then we look at the comparables here, and
I would totally buy that. I know that area.
Yeah, it's 2398 Oliviera Road, 400,000.
Vincent, don't beat me to it, okay?
Vincent's already calling his agent.
He's already calling them.
Be on the phone. That's like
We hear his car in the background.
The wheels squealing.
Yeah. So, and there's investor activity in the area. And all the comps are here. So these are all the comps that support an ARV better than 70%. These ones down here, the prices are a little bit lower, but they're still comparables. So we still show you all the data, even if these ones down here don't help you with the value. And then once you find a property, you just click save, you track it, and our system will let you know if that thing goes under contract or if there's a price change or if there's any other material changes in the CMA. But again, it's all live. It's all coming direct. So you can basically make sure you're basing your decisions off the real data that's updated and not some data that you just, you scrape off a Zillow or something like that. Now I'm showing you some on-market properties.
Quick question from Naomi. What are the blue dots?
The blue dots are what we call investor comps. So if we scroll up here, let me just find one of the ones we looked at. Let's check this one out. So this one's at 599,000. When we scroll down and we look at the dots, the blue dots here we call investor comps. These are comps that support the percentage of ARV that I used when I created the search. So 70%. This is just some basic math here to kind of illustrate how we're finding deals, because we know this estimate doesn't work, right? So that's called an AVM, automated valuation model.
Oh,
What
I was
we
wondering.
do is we're going to say, okay, this house is for sale for $599, $950. We said we want a property that's better than 70%. So we divide by 0.7, and you don't have to do this math. This is what the system's doing on its own. So it's basically creating a minimum price threshold. We have to have comps over 857,000 for a property that's listed at 599 to be better than 70%. So what we do is we look at all the comps that are left over and we say, okay, are any of those over 857? If not, we don't flag the property as a deal. We ignore it. It's just a regular listing in our system. You might find it some other way, but this match, it wouldn't match this search. But because we have 4 comps over 857, we flag the property as a deal and we send it to you via email as long as this was a saved search. And then we show you all the comparables here. These properties down here, and these are different statuses, by the way. See, there's 2 solds and active and a pending. For any properties that are below 857, that's all these down here. These properties are still comps. They just don't have a price that supports the idea that this is better than 70%. So we separate those out into their respective status categories. That's why these are blue. These ones support that this house listed at 599 at asking price is better than 70%. Now, that would be different if we used a different number. So if I change this to 65% of ARV, it's going to recalculate and the new minimum price threshold is going to be higher. Now we only have one property that supports it's better than 65%. So the data and the algorithm is really helping you zero on the right comparables to support the numbers you're going after. That's what investor comps are. And again, this is a proprietary thing to Privy. This is a way for us to identifying deals without trying to use the Zestimate model, which we know doesn't really work. It's giving you the power and all the data you need to make a data-driven decision. Thanks for that question. If you're now, we go back to the marketing, right? If you're driving for dollars and you come across a property and it looks good, well, all you got to do is just enter the property address right in here to the search bar, and our system will pull comparables on that property, even if it's off market, and show you all the real-time sold, active, under contract comps, show you any fix and flips in the area that are comparables, and allow you to quickly analyze that property. We actually just launched a mobile optimized version of Privy that you can use on your phone that's you can use on the go. So if you're driving around, you just open up your phone. It's not an app, it's a mobile version of, it's a web version on your phone. Enter the address, and then you have those comps at your fingertips. So you can determine if you want to, waste any time on that home. We also have a really cool bulk upload feature. So if you've got a list of foreclosures and you want to analyze, a dozen or 100 properties, just upload a CSV and our system will pull comparables and build a CMA for every one of those properties in just a few seconds. So lots of really powerful data here. It's going to help you make sure you're getting the best data to run your comparables, determine ARV, help you get to that MAO that's so critical. If you overbid, you could leave money on the table. But what I see happening more often than not, Bobby, is that people are passing up on deals because they don't have good data. They're not confident in their numbers. So they use really huge margins and they end up passing up on a lot of stuff they shouldn't pass up on. And so that's one of the good things that comes out of this is that you're going to have more deal flow. You're going to submit offers and your acceptance rate is going to go up because of using our layered approach. And we're going to teach you how to do all this. For a lot of people, they think, well, I'm not a techie and I can barely operate my smartphone, let alone some algorithm that's going to help me find deals. We are very good about doing good training. Today was Thursday, right? So at 1 o'clock Eastern time today, we had office hours. We had half a dozen people on there. We had a couple people that brought deals. We ran comps on them. We talked about some of the features that people were using. We had somebody else that was asking about how to do assignment of LLCs or transfer of LLCs instead of doing assignments. So we talk about all things real estate. Some of it is Privy centered. Some of it is just on, real estate investing in general. But we're here for you. We don't just sell you a piece of software and disappear. But at the end of the day, it's all about optimization, right? Making sure that every minute you spend on your business is invested in money making activities. One of my favorite shows is a show called Gold Rush. It's on the Discovery Channel, and it's these gold miners that go to the Yukon and they're searching for gold, right? And why this is there's a parallel to this is that they spend all their time, let's say 70 to 80% of all their money, time, effort, doing what's called removing overburden. Think about this as the surface of the earth. They go in and they bring in these, dump trucks and front end loaders and backhoes, and they just spend a ton of time and money removing all of this. And they're digging down to what they call pay dirt. Pay dirt is this gold-rich material that's been there for millions of years, that it has some gold in it, right? But they're not done, because what they do is they take all this pay dirt and they dump it into the back of the dumpster, and he takes it up to this thing called a wash plant. And it's this big, huge thing where you pour the dirt into, and they just shake the heck out of it and they spray high powered water on it. This is what Privy does for you. And at the back end of that wash plant comes the gold. It comes down in these little riffles, and then they dry it out, and now they've got all this gold they've been working so hard for. But what Privy does is we get rid of all this stuff right off the bat. We get rid of all the properties that make no sense because of the comparables. Unfortunately, doing it the manual way, you spend a lot of your time saying no to properties, right? So if there's 2 good ones and there's 10 here, you have to run comps on 8 properties to say no, right? What if we get rid of all those 8 and have the 2 that are possible, right? Then we stick those 2 into the wash plant and we spray them with high powered water using our comping algorithms and the investor activity. And now you've got the gold nuggets, like that one that Vincent and Bobby liked. That's what we do for you. So Bobby and Vincent were really adamant that we would, put this in the hands of you guys early on. As we just launched there, you're getting first look, and it's for, it's for fix and flippers, no matter what experience you are. If you're wholesaling, we're going to give you access to this data so you can analyze all your deal flow, give you some really good, powerful tools for disposition using our sharing our live CMA technology. If you're brand new, you've never done a deal, we can help you do your first deal. If you're, been in the business for a long time and you're looking for some ways to maybe invest in some other areas, or maybe you're interested in multifamily, which we also do, or you want to look for rentals, we have that information for you, and we can certainly help you do more activities. So just a couple kind of like testimonial type things. This is Anthony. He's up in the Chicago market, and he's a construction worker, and he was doing all of the marketing, the off-market marketing. He was spinning his wheels. He didn't have enough time to do the follow-up. He was getting some callbacks on a couple of his marketing things, but things were falling through the cracks. And he was using Privy just to do comping. And I'm like, Anthony, there's properties here you can wholesale. And he didn't believe me. So I started to set him up on a search, and he actually closed 6 deals in the last 12 months, made anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000 on these things. And even if it was just the minimum, if only 5 of them were 3,000 and one was 15, that's still $30,000 that he was able to earn in just 12 months. This is a Johnny. He's actually in Maryland, and he was having a lot of time getting started. He was going to school up there, and he used Privy, set up his searches. And within the first week, he found his very first deal. It was sent to him, via the search, got it under contract, did the fix up on himself, and he made money on his very first transaction that he found using Privy. So I got to see some questions are coming in here, and I will check this out here in a second. So Paul's asking about how does it work for multi-units? Yeah, we can look at that here in a second, Paul. No problem. So name is, so you showed Oakland, but does that include the entire Bay Area? There is a lot of shared data here, Naomi. So what we're going to be doing is getting the direct data from some of the surrounding areas. We've got Contra Costa, we've got Oakland, we've got data share for San Francisco, and there is some data also for San Jose and Sacramento. But starting beginning of the year, we're going to have all of that. So we're going to layer all of that public record data into our MLS data. So you got full coverage of all of that. Okay. So Privy right now, if you go and you were just sign up right on the website, it's $97 a month, and over 12 months, that'd be $1,164. Right now, if you look, you just compare that. If Anthony paid full price, then it would still be a good investment for him, right? Because he did, those 6 deals. But I wanted to give you guys some discounts and also wrap in some training and some education. So I went and I interviewed 6 of the top real estate investors all across the country. And I asked them, like, what were some of the winning strategies? What are some pitfalls that people can avoid? And I wrapped them all up in a nice little kind of interview style session. And we had a lot of fun putting this together. This is a lot of really good information in here. I'm gonna give you guys that for free. The next thing is the support. So one of the most important things to me is that the people who subscribe to Privy have success. We're still a growing company, and the most important thing for me is that you have a good experience with us, and that at some point you're going to come back to me and say, Benson, I love your software. I want to give you a testimonial. That's my goal. So how I do that is by, number one, I'm going to give you our VIP onboarding and support package. And what this includes is 1 free hour with me. I'm going to go and I'm going to log into Zoom. We're going to log into your account, and we're going to do the analysis. We're going to search the entire US, and we're going to talk about where you'd like to be. And we're going to see if that overlaps where the hot areas are at. And I'm going to help you set up and save all of your searches. So the very next day, you got opportunities showing up in your inbox while you're getting used to the system, right? I don't want you to have to wait until you're comfortable with the system before you have opportunities coming in. That's going to happen right out of the gate. So I'm going to help you do those. We've got live group training Monday nights. That would be at 4 p.m. Pacific, and on Thursdays at 10. Okay. And then we've got training classes and education. You can call me. We answer the phone here. We're not like a Google or Facebook or YouTube where they're force you into some chat or email where no one ever helps you. You can call me and I'll talk with you. And I'll walk you through any of the issues you're having. I'll give you that for free as well. As you can see, we're launching all across the US. So what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to give you access to not just your current market, but all of our markets as we launch along all these US markets. So when you sign up tonight, or if you decide to sign up, and by the way, you guys are so new that Oakland hasn't even gotten onto the drop down yet. So if you're going to sign up with us tonight, it's going to be by clicking the Los Angeles market. And then you're going to get access to Oakland as well, but using the promo code I'm going to give you, okay? As well as all of these other markets. So here's the markets we're currently in. There's the coverage. And then as we launch all those additional markets I talked to you about, there's going to be no extra charge for you. You get all those for free. The last thing is this rehab guidebook. So some of you are looking to do fix and flips, right? If you've already got that going, this is going to be a great kind of resource to kind of just see what you're working on. Ryan Garcilaso is an experienced contractor and fix and flipper, and he has some things he teaches about fix and flips. And so he gave us this book because I read it, and I wanted to make sure that our people had this out there as a resource. And the time to learn to doing fix and flip is not when you get your first deal, right? It's way before that. So start to educate yourselves now. This is great. I'm gonna give you this for free. And it's just a great resource to help you avoid a lot of the pitfalls. Because what a shame it would be is if you went through all of the marketing and the searching and the negotiating, and you finally get the deal, and then you screw the rehab up. That would be really bad. So this is going to help you not go down that path. So real quickly, just a quick summary. Here's all of the bonuses and Going to give you guys a nice, sweet little discount. So, a bunch of value here. And actually, there's actually one more thing I want to throw in here. But before that, you're going to get access to the software for just $720. This will allow you to invest right in your own backyard. Or if you want to look at some other markets like Tampa or Dallas, Colorado Springs is really hot right now. I'll show you some of those hot areas. It's just like paying $60 a month. And all of our plans come with a 30-day money back guarantee. So there's no risk to get in there and try it out and try to use the software. Just a huge amount of value. For those of you that are looking to do some stuff nationally or even locally and you're wholesaling, a lot of people get held back because they feel like they don't have enough people on their buyers list. So I'm going to give you a buyers list that I've been building for the last 8 years. It's got over 5,000 people on it, and it's all broken out by state. So here's just an example of what this looks like. So if we go all the way up to, say, California, we've got over 1,000 people in the California who are looking for deals in the California market. We've got phone numbers, emails, addresses, where they're looking, what they're looking for. And we're going to give you all of this for the whole US, just as an additional bonus. So just to kind of thank you guys for coming on. And, I want to make sure that everybody that's here tonight, gets a bunch of value. I mean, this by itself is probably worth a couple grand, but I want to give you guys that for free. All right. So I know not everybody has $720 in their budget, but do what you can, right? I mean, if you need to work with a business partner or, put it on a credit card, I mean, do that because this is an investment into your business, right? This is not just money that you are putting into, some car or, a lot of the things that people waste their money on, Starbucks and all that junk, right? This is an investment in your business, but if you can't make it happen, don't let it hold you back. You can still get into Privy for $97 per month. I'm still going to give you 2 of our bonuses. So you're going to get the rehab guidebook, and I'm also going to give you the deal analysis calculators. This is a standalone calculator set that will allow you to do fix and flip analysis, construction estimation, and also ARV estimation. So that's really valuable too. So $97 if you want to just get started. And down the road, if you close a deal or you want to come on board, then we'll get you upgraded. But this special here for $720 is only good for the next 48 hours. Okay. So take some time to do your due diligence. And if you decide you want to come on board with us, then, I want to take that ride with you. I'm going to invest in you if you're investing in us, and I'm going to spend the time with you. I'm going to make sure you have everything you need. You can call me, you can talk to me. We've got the one-on-one training. We got the live weekly group trainings twice per week. The promo code is Privy 2020. And I'm going to go ahead and put the links here for you, and then we'll start answering some questions. So please put your questions in the chat there. And Dennis, yes, it does include Orange County. So it goes all the way down through San Diego. So it's Orange County, Riverside, the whole Inland Empire, all the way through Palm Springs. What other questions do we have here?
I've got a bunch of questions. Can you do multifamily out of state yet? I know it's coming, but is this currently it's only residential?
No, we've got a multifamily for every market that we're in. So I'll put the markets up first that we're currently in.
Sure. So,
And,
Gloria, multifamily information is available.
Yep. And then we will have multifamily also nationwide starting in January. But also between now and then, we're going to be launching new MLSs. So we'll have them there too. So there's that. I'm also going to put my contact info up here. So my phone number, in case you want to call me tomorrow, or if you want to book some time on Saturday, I got a few slots open. My phone number is 844-438-7748. And my email is benson@teamprivy.com. And that link there is the link to my calendar. So you can see my open slots available. So if you want to book some time and actually just maybe ask a couple more questions or just, really get, confident in the decision to move forward, that's what that link is for. Okay. And then right here are the links and the promo codes. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here. And by the way, we're going to send out a replay of this, right, Bobby?
Yes. Yes.
So I'm going to give all this information to Bobby tonight as well.
Yep.
And then he can put that out in the replay for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that you'll have it in your inbox. You don't have to take perfect notes tonight. So what other questions do we have here?
We have a few more. When is Sacramento coming?
So I'm not 100% sure what the end, not the end.
Yeah.
The latest would be in January.
January.
So chance it would come on sooner, but we're going to be nationwide starting in January.
Yep.
So all the other markets will come. So if you decide you want to come on board, you'll have access to all of the markets we're doing now, and we can help you get trained up and ready. And as soon as that launches, you'll be ready to go. But I actually believe we're going to help you find some stuff that you can write offers on and get under contract way before that even happens. But we already have a bunch of we already have the data share for Sacramento because Contra Costa, Oakland,
Yep.
the Bay Area and Sacramento, they have a data share going on. It's just not direct.
Yep. So and then so Steve Garcia, I think Central Valley is already there. And then folks, look, you have a 30-day money back guarantee, so try it out, see if you find some deals in your markets, but give it a shot. One question is, I'm more of a buy and hold investor. Can you show me a demo of how it would analyze the internal rate of return? So the question is, I'm more of a buy and hold investor. Can you show me a demo of how this platform would analyze the internal rate of return?
Right. Yeah. So I think that's from Shankar, right? So
Yeah.
I see his first part. Instead of fix and flip, can I use this platform to find off-market single-family deals and potential of them? You currently wouldn't be able to find off-market deals using Privy. You could use Privy to analyze all those properties by using the quick search here and running the analysis here. We originally designed Privy to be an analysis and comping tool. It will find you on-market stuff, right? Now you don't have to do fix and flip. Any property here, this filter says fix and flip, but basically what it's doing is it's finding discounted deals. So whether your exit strategy is buy and hold or fix and flip or wholesale, or maybe you're even doing like tax liens or you're purchasing notes, no matter what your approach is, you still have to determine value. That's the key. And if you only used it for comping, that itself would be a huge step up in the business because it's all about the data, right? So, if you're buying tax liens, you got to determine what that thing is worth. If you're buying notes, same thing. If you're wholesaling, you need an effective way to analyze all your deal flow. In January, once we launch the public record data, yes, we're going to be able to help you find all of those off-market opportunities right here. So this is all the data we're going to be layering in here shortly. That's going to give you a bunch more opportunities for off-market. But like I said, you guys, if you like off-market and you like being, a marketer or a private investigator, you're skip tracing and chasing people around, that's great if it's working for you. But the majority of deals that are done are on market. That's just the fact. It's over 50%. So if you're ignoring on-market deals as part of your deal flow, you're ignoring the majority of the opportunities that are out there. Now, as far as Shankar, we don't have any IRR calculators.
Yeah.
So what we can do is when you open up a live CMA and you scroll down here, we'll have the rental data for the area. So here's the rental data that comes from MLS. Okay. So if you have your own calculator that analyzes IRR, then that's when you're going to want to use. Our team is working on a bunch of new calculators that we're going to be adding in. I don't know if IRR is one of them. I do know that buy and hold is what it's titled. I'm not involved in that part of what they're building, but there's a bunch of that kind of stuff coming down the pipe. So that's a good question. Multi-units for sure.
Yep.
If we do a real quick search and let's look for multi-units. So I'm going to go multifamily. It's active. I don't know what prices are like out here, so I'm just going to put everything
David, the answer is yes.
So here's the multifamily opportunities. And then the algorithm is going in, it's pulling all the comparables.
Hmm.
So here's a 6-unit building. It's 1.2 million.
Hmm.
So if multifamily is what you're into, absolutely. We've got all the multifamily information here as well. Let's see here. Did we miss anything? You guys, if we missed your question and it's at the kind of the beginning, maybe repost it.
Yeah, repost or let me see. Carolyn, the data that you're looking for will be there probably December, January. I know that Privy has all the nationwide data coming. They're actually loading and integrating that data right now, so it's coming very soon.
So Dennis, where is Santa Cruz and Monterey counties? Are those counties or those are cities?
No, those are counties. They're both counties and cities, but uh, they're south of Bay Area, so or slightly south of Bay Area. So if you zoom
Okay.
out,
Yeah, I would say Dennis for right now, we probably don't like if let's look at the sold data,
yeah,
right? Is it down here?
scroll down a little bit more, a little bit, and to the left.
Okay.
Gonna be on the
Yeah.
phone.
So Dennis, we're probably not going to be able to support you down there just yet. As you can see here, we got a lot of data for here.
Yeah,
Yeah, you need to go all the way down to the ocean. There you go. That's Santa
there you
Cruz.
go.
Okay. Yeah. So we've got some data here. So we would be able to help you find some opportunities. And then once we layer in the off-market public record data, then we're going to have even more opportunities for you down here. And then Dennis, on your second question, we do have a program like that to bring in new investors. We do. Paul's asking, can you tweak the comp categories? For example, there might be a comp that has more bedrooms, but is next door versus a bunch of same properties that are farther away. It is still valuable to see the larger, smaller properties that are close. Yeah, there's a little bit of flexibility there, Paul. So with the algorithm, when we first run the comping algorithm, now let's just look at one of these properties here. It's looking at the most, oh, this is multifamily. Let's switch over to single family. And let's just open up a property. And these are going to pop off. There'll be some pretty expensive homes over here, probably, right? There we go. So when the algorithm first runs, Paul, it's looking for the most similar comparables. So the algorithm is looking for properties that are within about 15% of the square feet of the subject. And then it's also, we're not going to compare like a 2-story to a ranch. The distance here is 1/2 mile from center. Now this is all editable, right? So if you want a larger comp zone, you can draw a larger comp area using our drawing tool, and then you can cut it off on major roads or rivers. And then it will show the properties that are similar to those here. Now, as far as adjusting this, if you wanted to use a property as a comp that was a little further out or maybe wasn't similar based off of square footage, the major property characteristics, then you can basically click all activity. And this is going to show you all the properties in here, even if they're not very similar. So like this one that was at 1,800 square feet, the comp's here for you. And so if you didn't want to use, something that was down here, you can delete anything you don't like. And then you can keep the ones that you do that maybe aren't as similar that maybe were eliminated on the first pass. So absolutely, you have the ability to adjust that. Okay, let's see here. Good questions, you guys.
Yeah, very good question.
Thank you so much.
Uh,
Shankar, does your comp algorithm look at income levels in that block, vicinity to apartments, closeness? No, Shankar, we're not currently doing that. We're looking at similar properties and we're looking at sales, and we do have the rental data there. You would need to put that together to see if it matches what you're looking for. Yeah, Paul. All counties nationwide will be available. Our target is January 1st. We've got a small team. We're really pushing hard to make that happen, but that's what we're shooting for. Janelle, no, we're not taking zoning into consideration with the comping algorithm, but we do show the zoning. Down the road, we're probably going to incorporate a filter to look for specific zoning types, but we're not eliminating properties that have a different zoning capability, because really you're looking at the property itself. So no, not currently. Let's see here. Austin's coming soon, Shankar. I was just talking to our agent down there who's going to help us launch, and she's ready to go. So it could be really soon. I don't want to promise when it's going to happen. I'm hoping 30 to 60 days, probably by the end of the year.
Let me and Alberto get down there before you launch Austin. Just kidding. That's a very competitive market.
Yeah, it is. It is. So right now, all of our data comes from MLS, and we do aggregate some proprietary data for rental information. As far as what's proprietary data for Privy, it's kind of how we aggregate and curate the data. So the raw data is MLS. When we launch nationwide, the raw data will be public record, all coming from counties. We're going to layer in the MLS, and then we're going to create proprietary data points from that you'll be able to use to make better decisions. But kind of proprietary, think about, I'm not sure if you saw the whole thing, Shankar, like the investor activity, right? Like the before and after, us extracting out investor activity, because there's no flag in the MLS that says that a house was flipped. There, you can't just go there, and an agent wouldn't be able to do that. But by us having the raw data and running the algorithms against it, we're able to give you some proprietary data points, and the investor activity is a good example of that. Naomi, no, you can't currently look up expired listings. One of the challenges there is that there's not, the way the MLS pushes that data out to companies like ours is that they push updates until there's no more updates. So they don't push it to say it's expired. It just stops coming. And so and every market's kind of different the way they handle it. So we're looking for some creative ways to potentially identify some expired listings, but not currently, Naomi. Thank you for that.
Folks, I want to kind of give a behind the scenes view of what happens. And Benson is probably too modest to explain the regulatory and the political and the corporate hurdles you got to jump through to get the data, because it's not easy. Number one, it's not cheap, right? It's extremely expensive to get this data. Secondly, it's often comes with a lot of conditions and so on. So what you're seeing is the final product. But what Privy and the team at Privy had to go through to get this data is it's really incredible. Like if you look at the kinds of engineering and deal making they had to do with the MLSs, some MLSs are cooperative, some others are not. To get this data, plus the cost of getting the data, it's a lot of work. So I mean, but what you see is kind of the final product, but it didn't happen overnight. And Vince and I have been kind of fortunate to see their journey and kind of behind the scenes of everything that goes on to get to this point. And but yeah, this is It's a lot of work, but it's meant to save you countless hours, help you find deals, help you run your business. So
Yeah, let me, if you don't mind me jumping in here too. Thanks, Bobby and Benson. Like, I'm finding if I'm like, you're probably like me, like you're like, okay, am I spending money on more tools? And like recently I just downsized some things. Like I look at things like what's useful to me, what's not useful to me. I continue and will continue to use Privy. It's a tool that I use daily. I think also one of the really exciting things here, and Bobby was saying this, like just to kind of get on board now, as things roll out nationally, as county data feeds come in. Like one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to be, and Benson, I'm pretty sure I'm talking right because I've been, or saying the right thing because I've been part, of Privy for a while. You're going to be part of seeing these things rolled out and even testing these things before they even come up. So like, for instance, recently they rolled out rental data. All the Privy users got the rental data in a beta form before it was rolled out to everybody else or the newer users. So as things come up and new things come on board, we're, as current Privy users, we're the first one to get access to these things. And when they were doing the mobile version, same thing. I was talking with Benson. He's like, here's this a test version of the mobile version, and the first to see it, first to get it, to offer feedback. So it's pretty exciting to be part of a company at this part of time that or at this point in time that is really about to break out. I mean, we were just kind of talking about some things while we were first jumping on the call, just some doors that are opening, and pretty soon you're going to be hearing about Privy for sure.
well, you know,
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I mean, that's a perspective I wouldn't be able to convey because I'm always heads down looking at this stuff every day. And sometimes I look at this stuff and I'm like, God, it could be so much better. And then I talk to somebody who's like an expert, real estate investing coach who's been doing this for 20 years today. And he was absolutely blown away. And it helps validate all of the hard work that we put into the business. And both, Vincent and Bobby had a lot of really nice things to say. And, we're really proud of what we built. We've been doing this for, well, like I said, we built it in our first business to start for us. And we've been doing this for about 7 or 8 years, launching nationwide. But we wanted to do it right. Like we have almost intentionally tried to stay below the radar so that once we had the proper resources and team and funding, that we would just explode. And that's happening right now, you guys. Like this is getting ready to really blow. And everything we've built is based off of the feedback that we've gotten from our users. There isn't anything here that we just came up with. Like it's a constant feedback loop, and we iterate. And a lot of you guys there in the Bay Area, you probably heard some of these words in kind of the startup community. And we've grown outside of the startup word, but we still use a lot of that same mentality. Like it's 10 o'clock here, and I work 12-hour days almost every day to help make this better for everybody. And I love doing it. We're really excited about it. It's taken a lot of work. And, I wouldn't even have thought about talking about this until Vincent and Bobby brought it up, but it's fun, you guys. Like we really enjoy doing this. And, we're starting to really get some attention, and I want you guys to come on board, and I want to get the feedback. And I would love for some of you to say, Benson, I want to be your next testimonial, or I found this amazing deal. This is, let's share this with the group. So there's a bunch of cool stuff we're doing here. Yeah. Thanks for the kind words, everybody in the chat here. I appreciate that.
absolutely. So guys, look, absorb, go to one of Benson's trainings. He's got a Facebook and a YouTube channel. You can see some of the recordings. He does a fabulous job of meeting with users on a regular basis. You drop into those sessions, you ask any questions. He's very, very available, so thank you for that. And then a couple of last questions.
Can I just jump in real quick and then get to those questions? I mean, one of the things about getting on board early like this is like, this company is going to grow. And honestly, Benson, it's like, we're not going to have access to you and some of these other things, you know, at some point in time. In other words, like, you could get on a call with Benson now, you know, one-on-one training, 6 to 10 people. I've been on many, many of those trainings. I mean, I get to directly ask questions. I mean, you know, I'll say, Benson, hey, what about this property? Or can you find me a property in this area? So getting on board on something early like this now, it definitely has its advantage in terms of having, you know, just that more personalized attention. I mean, that honestly, that's just not going to happen forever. It's something that is an advantage of the people that jump on board right now. And I would definitely
Thanks.
take advantage of that.
Yeah. Plus, you know, one of my pet peeves from wholesalers is they don't give me accurate numbers. They don't give me accurate comp data. But if they had, you know, Privy, they could give me that that data, and I would probably pull the trigger on some of those deals. So really, it's all about accurate data. It's about better information, and the wholesaler, the agent that has better information, is probably got an edge on their competition. So yeah, thank you everybody. But I know if thank you, Benson. I know it's really late in Colorado. It's 10:30, so appreciate you staying
Oh,
up
no
so late.
problem.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
this was
yeah.
a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody being here. And I don't know if the 49ers won or lost tonight. I was watching the game before we got in here. It was fairly competitive up until the last drive there before halftime, but I've always kind of liked the 49ers and what they've done over the years. And I'm a big Bronco fan, as you can
Yep.
probably tell. And I know we got a butt whooping from you guys back with the Montana
Yep.
throw to what's the tight end in the end zone. What was that? I can't remember his name, but in any case, you know, thanks for being here. That's what I was getting at. There's a lot of other stuff you guys could be doing tonight, and you know, listening to some guy you don't know about, you know, talking about real estate investing. This is what drives me to do this. So thanks for being here, and I'm going to be available. There's already a handful of you that have said that you wanted to talk. So just reach out. I'm going to be available all day tomorrow. I've got time blocked out. There you go. I got time blocked out. Dennis, Jerry Rice played for the Broncos too, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
On Saturday too.
Yeah. No, really. Thank you, Benson. And guys, reach out. So for the folks that have a few more minutes, I want to demo something that I've been working on for some time. Some of you know about it, but here's let me see. Can you see my screen?
It was there, Bobby. I could see it.
Okay. Let me try again. Okay, here we go. All right. Here we go. So some of you have seen Better Capital, but for the folks that haven't, we've built a free platform that you can use for tracking the properties that you own, right? So if you have properties that you already own, or real estate assets, rentals, your private money, your syndications, whatever you may have, you can actually track it in the system that we have built. So for example, you could come into this property, you could see the performance of this property this year. You know, last year, how did it do? What was my ROI? What was my equity? What was my total net income? This year. And you can bounce between projected and actuals, and then, you know, all your rental data, all your transactions are all in here. All your documents can be stored in here. So basically, it's called Better Capital, bettercapital.us, and you can kind of, it's a free account. And what you do is you just type in the address. I'll just show you real quick, a quick demo. So if I come in here, I go to the dashboard. I say add an asset, and I will say 1300 5 East 39th Avenue in Independence, Missouri. I come in here. Here it is. It's my rental. I'm the owner. This is my email. I'm self-managing it, for example. Here's some lease information. So I come in here, go 900, 950 monthly. When does the lease end? I'm going to say 2021 on the 30th. The deposit was 2000. Then I go to the operating expenses. What was the tax? It was 900. The insurance was 700. The mortgage was 80,000. Interest was, let's say 4%, 30-year fixed, and no escrow. So here's my mortgage information, and no HOA, no CapEx. My property management was $90 a month. I'm sorry, a month. So here we go. Then I click on assets. So basically I fill all this information out. Then I go to transactions and I can import. There's multiple ways to import the data, but I want to show you a really quick and dirty way to import data. So here we go. So let's say I didn't own it in 2017, so I'm going to delete that. Let's say I just bought it in 2019. What was my tax? My tax was 900 yearly. My rent was, let's say 890 monthly. My insurance was 750 yearly. And I need to add one more, which was mortgage for 2018, sorry, 2019. It was 345, let's say, monthly. So now all my information got filled automatically. And now I can come to the dashboard. I can see how my property did, and so on and so forth. I can add, there's probably some more information that I probably needed to add in this tab, which I haven't. But, okay, so for example, purchase price was 60,000. Down payment was 20,000. Bedroom, all that is fine. Sorry, let me. It's real quick.
So Bobby, this is really cool. You showed me this a month or two back, and it looks like you've added so much more to it.
Yeah, we've
been hard at work on this.
We've been hard at work on this one. But sorry, I have to fix the date here. Sorry, I didn't fix it. Yeah, so we've put in a lot of time into this to make it better. So I'm going to say let's say January 2019.
The goal of this then is to basically analyze your portfolio so you can monitor your ROI, determine if you should, buy similar assets or get rid of some that aren't performing.
Exactly.
Buy some new ones that maybe are in some other markets, and then it calculates your overall ROI.
Exactly.
And so you can see how it's performing over time.
Yep. So the idea is that a lot of people acquire assets, but then they go, you know what? Okay, the rent check's kind of coming in. I paid my property taxes, I paid my insurance, and I paid my property management. But then there's what is the true performance of your assets, right? When you bought it, the agent or the person who sold it to you, or you ran your numbers in your Excel spreadsheet, and the Excel spreadsheet said you're going to make 18% cash on cash returns.
Right.
Well, let's go a year later, and did you really do 18%? Were you actually lower, or were you higher? If you were higher, maybe you need to do something about that. But if you were lower, maybe you need to make some adjustments, right? But the idea is that when you get in a when you get in your car, you check the engine light, you check your speed, do you have enough gas? Is the battery, charged? You have a dashboard. So the idea here is that you'll have a dashboard letting you know what are your monthly goals. What do you want to hit? If you've already hit 20,000, do you now want to hit 25,000? And the system will come back and actually tell you whether you've hit your goals or not, right? So sorry, I wasn't sharing that, but the idea is that you have a dashboard that gives you a complete sense of how you're doing. So if you look at the small red arrows, that means I'm waiting for the rent to show up. This month I had to pay property taxes, so it's going to be a little negative.
Mhm.
But it tells you if you see a lot of red negatives. This is all sample data, but if you see some of these negatives, then you got to pay attention to that. But
Right.
more importantly, I can dive into this and um, I look at the performance, right? It's my dashboard, it's my actual performance. Now, sometimes if you see that you have a lot of red that is very high, that means you have a lot of expenses that you probably
Mm.
need to pay attention to that property because you're bleeding a little bit.
Right.
Uh, but all your transactions get sit in here. I can add a transaction, so I can say, you know what, I paid $100 to the landscaper. So I can say other. So category, I paid plumbing, for example. It was an expense,
Mm.
and it was on October 14th, and it was for RDAC. Okay. So yeah, there we go. So now I have this expense of $100 on this date. So if I go look
Yeah.
at my graph, then there'll be a little dip here, right?
Right.
So
You know
so
what I
the
like in
idea,
this too, which is perfect because this doesn't really exist in the real estate world unless you're investing in like a REIT or something like that. Is like your financial planner, right? At the end of the year, they send you a complete synopsis report on your entire portfolio. Maybe you've got some stuff that's in mutual funds and you invest in Apple and a couple, big,
Yep.
blue chip stocks. And then you've got some T-bills and some other stuff. And like, you have a sense of what it's doing, but then it's put all together in one portfolio and you can at a glance see how it's doing and know if you need to change your strategy or if you keep on the same path.
exactly. And that's why we love the Privy story, because as you save up money, as you start getting comfortable in buying rental properties or doing BRRRR, then you can purchase more. You can go to Privy, you can find the next deal that you're looking for, and then track it in Better Capital. The idea is that we have a tracking system, like you said, for equities. But the other thing that we're doing is you may have rental properties, let's say in Ohio, in Colorado, and in Georgia. So one property manager may be using Appfolio, the other property manager is using Propertyware, the third property manager is using like a Cozy, right? So they're all on different systems, and you got to log into every system to pull the reports, or they're emailing you the reports. What we have done, we have integrated all that into one. So regardless of what property management system your property managers are using or what you're using, doesn't matter. We can bring all that data into one place pretty easily. We've got connectors to all the property management systems out there. So the idea is that instead of logging into 4 or 5 different systems, you log into one and you get a real-time report of how you're doing in across the board. But you're also looking for, so a dashboard for me is, I'm looking for the green lights, but if there's a red or an orange, then that means I have to pay attention to it. So most of the time, my properties are on autopilot. But If they're not on autopilot, then I need to pay attention to them. So the dashboard will become an indicator for you that, hey, this is going into orange or this is in red. You know, why is there so much vacancy on this property that you purchased in, you know, Savannah, Georgia? Why do you have so much of a vacancy there? You need to pay attention to that one. But if it's in green, leave it alone. So that's the idea of this dashboard.
And you're giving those away for free?
Yeah. So yeah. This is for free. This is for free. You know, eventually, you know, if you are a power user, we may end up charging you a little bit of money, but no, it's for free.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah. So look, we you know, so the reason I know how difficult it is for Benson and team to get all that data is because I'm going through the grinder myself. I know how difficult it is to work with developers and designers and data and banks and property management systems. I know the challenges. So look, what I would love to do is if you can log in, try to add a couple of your properties, but more importantly, give me some feedback, whether you like it, you hate it, what can we make better. I would like that if you don't mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, let me see. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate it. Shankar is saying, do I have to manually enter number of data collected? So, Shankar, if you reach out to me, I'm going to show you if you have the data in Excel, I'll show you how to quickly import the data into Excel. In fact, if you want to do it right now, I can actually, I made a YouTube video to show people how to import data very quickly. So I'm going to just put that link in here. So Shankar, you have that link. I'll share it with everybody. And you can click on that link. But the idea is that we try to make it as easy as possible for you to import data. Once you have imported data, then every month, literally it takes me 30 seconds per property to update that property per month and to eyeball that everything is okay. Like if I can tell within 30 seconds by the time I click into the property and I look at the transaction and the dashboard of that property, I can tell whether something's not right. But more importantly, this right here, this dashboard, let me see. Yeah, right here. The first thing I look at is this, but this is updated on the first of the month. It tells me whether my rent came in or not. And then if I know that the rent didn't come in, then I know there's a problem. But usually my rents, sometimes they don't come until the 5th or the 6th or 7th. So I don't start panicking until, the 10th actually. But by 7th, I'm starting to pay a little bit more attention to the ones that are not green. Maybe I got to text somebody, I got to maybe send an email to somebody. But in one view, you got all your properties, you got all your documents, we got bank integration. So I'll quickly show you. We have, so I think this is what some of you were asking. So I can click here on a bank, and then I'm going to click on fetch. This is my actual Wells Fargo account that I'm sharing with you. So this is the data that's coming in from the bank, and then I can assign this to an asset. I can say that this transaction belongs to this property. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, we use it's a division of Visa. It's called Plaid. We use Plaid for the integration. We can only read data. We can't write to your bank account. We can only read. You have to give us permission to read the bank account information. It's got double authentication. It's got all the security features that you would see in Venmo, Robinhood. They use the same exact technology that we're using. It was a $6 billion acquisition by Visa of this company out of San Francisco. But they built the secure tools for companies like ours, Venmo, Robinhood, whatever, to pull the bank data. They're tied into 15,000 banks and mortgage companies and insurance companies and so on and so forth. So that's the data that we use. But we pull that in. Right now we're working on some automation, so you won't even have to click on that drop down. We will learn from your previous transaction that this type of transaction belongs to a certain property. We'll bring it in. You can always override it if it's not correct. You always have the ability to go back and fix it. But we're looking to automate that. But yeah, guys. Look. Dale, Jordan, Carolyn, Shankar, all of you, Naomi, Carlos, Steve, Jack. Of course, Jackie was my guinea pig. I apologize, Jackie. I know you tested it. Dennis, it's called Plaid, Plaid. So that's the technology that we use. Would love it if you guys could give it a trial. You can even if you have just your primary residence, you can track your primary residence. If you got a couple of rentals, you got private money, you got syndications, you got notes, you can track all that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's through Better Capital, US.
Bettercapital.us.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
put the link there in the chat, you guys, if you want to grab it.
All those
I
links
already
in the
started
chat.
looking at it.
Yeah, all those links are in the chat for Better Capital, for Bobby's YouTube video, and also to get registered up with Benson. I know we've been throwing a lot of things at you people. We appreciate everybody hanging in with us. One last thing just quickly to mention is that there are some investment opportunities actually in Privy. If you're at all interested in knowing more about that, contact Bobby. But there are some investment opportunities in Privy as well to get in on the ground floor. We won't go into that. That's not the purpose of this webinar tonight. But if you are interested in knowing more about that, we will connect you up with the people in Privy that can get on a Zoom call with you and get you more information about that. So enough said about that. Just wanted to let everybody know.
Thank you, Vincent. And by the way, guys, look, I don't know if you've been paying attention to my emails. We're going to focus a lot on prop tech. We call it real tech or prop tech, because technology and real estate, they're kind of connected now. We live in a world where data is important, workflow is important. It's meant to give you an edge on your investments, right? 10 years ago, it would be very difficult to manage, buying a property in, let's say you live in California or you live in Colorado, but you're buying in Virginia or you're buying in, Cleveland. Like 10 years ago, that was very difficult. Now with technology, we're able to do it. We can monitor these things. And there are systems that are coming online. Look at all the tools that you're using now. You got Google Earth, Google Street View. You got Zillow giving you inaccurate data. I'm just kidding. But you got Privy that's cleaning up all that data. Privy is actually not. They're getting it from the MLS, right? And I know how difficult it is to work with just one single MLS. They were able to work with all of the MLSs. So they're pulling in all that data and serving it up to the users. But the idea is that you would then use that for your business. Like these are tools it's like going from a manual screwdriver to the power tools, right?
Right.
That's what they're doing. So keep that in mind. But look, give Vincent or Benson or myself feedback. We're doing it for you guys. We want you to be successful in your real estate journey.
Absolutely. Great. Well, thanks for that, Bobby. Appreciate the synopsis. I want to dig more into that. I would love to get that into front of more of our people,
Thank you.
and get them to start using it too. So let's circle up offline on that, and we'll talk about some things we can do, some training and some cool things. So
Absolutely.
thanks everybody again for being here.
Yeah, and thank you, and everybody. Stay safe. Don't hold your breath on the results. We'll have it next month or before 2021, hopefully. But yeah, stay safe. But focus on your business. Build your business. Yep. Monitor your rentals. Monitor your deals, and look for some nuggets, because Privy, if you dig into it, you'll find some deals in Privy. So. So it'll all be good. So, and thank you, everybody. Have a safe and good night. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you. Thanks, everybody. Reach out.
Bye, everyone.
All right.
Thank you, Vincent. All right.
Thank you.